Maddie, what's wrong? Why did you suddenly go outside like that? Is something bothering you? You really have the nerve to ask me that, don't you? How can you say that after what just happened? And more importantly, how did you even get in touch with me? I didn't give you my number. Well, I heard it from Gabe, of course. That's how I got it. Wait, what? Gabe told you? That doesn't make any sense. Why would Gabe give my phone number to someone like you? In fact, why are you even here? Why would someone as irrelevant as you be present during Gabe's and my engagement announcement? It's absurd. There's nothing absurd about it, Maddie. I'm Gabe's childhood friend, and because I've known him for so long, I felt like it was my responsibility to come here and see what kind of woman he's planning to marry. I mean, wouldn't you want to know if your childhood friend was about to make a huge mistake? I don't need you to evaluate me, and I certainly don't need your approval. This is between Gabe and me. Oh, Maddie, you're only saying that because you lack confidence. If you were truly confident in your relationship with Gabe, you wouldn't be so defensive. Instead, you'd be proud and stand tall. But here you are, acting like you need to run away from home just because I'm here. That's not true. I'm not running away from anything. It's just that having someone like you around made me feel sick to my stomach. And by the way, why is Gabe even letting you do this? Why would he allow you to come here and stir up all this drama? What do you mean allow? Gabe asked me to come here. He personally requested that I come and meet you to see what kind of person you are. He wanted my honest opinion. What? There's no way that's true. Gabe would never do something like that. He loves me. We've been together for 2 years and we've built a life together. He proposed to me because he wants to spend the rest of his life with me, not because he needed someone else's opinion. There's no way he asked you to come here to judge me. Oh, Maddie, you're so naive. It's natural to have doubts when you're about to make a life-changing decision like marriage. Don't you think Gabe might be feeling a bit uncertain, even if he loves you? People have second thoughts all the time. But that doesn't justify this. You showing up here, uninvited, and making me feel like I'm being put on trial, it's completely out of line. Well, since I'm already here, I might as well give you my assessment, don't you think? I don't want or need your so-called assessment. This is ridiculous. Oh, no, you definitely need it, and I'm going to give it to you whether you like it or not. So, here it is. You're not good enough for Gabe. Excuse me? You heard me. I mean, just look at you. When Gabe told me he was getting married, I was shocked. But when I actually saw you, I was even more surprised. I didn't expect you to be so plain. You're not attractive enough for Gabe, Maddie. And that's my final assessment. What? What are you talking about? You don't even know me. You can't just say something like that and expect me to take it seriously. Oh, I'm being completely serious. Gabe is an attractive, successful man with a bright future ahead of him. He deserves someone who matches his level, someone who compliments him, and unfortunately, that someone isn't you. You're not going to be marrying my childhood friend. Wait, you can't just make decisions like that. Does Gabe even know you're saying these things? Did he really ask you to come here and break off your engagement? Of course he did. Gabe and I have known each other for a long time, and he trusts me. I'm only doing what he asked me to do. No, this can't be happening. Gabe would never want something like this. We've been in love for 2 years. We've been through so much together. We've built a life, and he proposed to me because he wanted us to be together. He wouldn't just throw all of that away because of what you think. Well, sometimes people change their minds. Maybe Gabe realized that you're not the right person for him after all. Maybe he felt like something was missing. This isn't fair. You can't just come in here, make these ridiculous claims, and expect me to roll over and accept it. Gabe and I love each other. That's what matters most. Love isn't everything, Maddie. Sometimes love just isn't enough. You have to be compatible in every aspect of life. And honestly, you and Gabe just don't seem to fit together. What do you mean by that? How can you say that when you barely know me? Look at your lives. Gabe is a successful, ambitious man who lives in a beautiful, spacious apartment. He's on track to have an amazing career and a wonderful future. And then there's you. You don't really fit into that picture, do you? Wait, how do you know about our apartment? Have you been there? Of course. I had to see where Gabe was living and make sure it was up to my standards. I can't just let him live anywhere, you know? This is unbelievable. You've crossed every line imaginable. You went behind my back, invaded my privacy, and now you're trying to destroy my relationship. Oh, calm down. It's not that big of a deal. I just wanted to see what kind of place you were living in. And honestly, it's a gorgeous apartment. I think I'd look much better living there than you. You're insane. This isn't your life to interfere with. Gabe and I are happy together, and nothing you say is going to change that. How about this? Gabe and I will be moving forward with our wedding plans, and you can watch the engagement announcement if you'd like. Absolutely not. I refuse to be part of this farce. And for the record, I haven't agreed to any of this. Gabe and I are still engaged, and we're going to work through this. I'm not giving up on him just because you showed up with your ridiculous opinions. Oh, Maddie, you're so stubborn. If you really loved him, you'd want what's best for him. And right now, what's best for him is someone who can support him and match his ambitions. That person isn't you. I'm leaving for now, but this isn't over. I'll be speaking to Gabe directly about all of this, and we'll see what he has to say. Fine, go ahead. In the meantime, I'll be continuing with the wedding plans. Gabe and I will move forward, and you'll just have to deal with it.
Maddie, are you at Gabe's house right now? How's it going? Do you think you've made a good impression on his parents?
Oh, Dad. Yeah, I think so. Maybe.
I know it's probably a nerve-wracking experience, but listen, just be yourself. You don't need to put on any kind of act or try too hard. As long as you show them your true self, things will be fine. And don't forget, your mom is watching over you from heaven. She'd be so proud.
Dad, how was it for you when you had to meet Mom's parents?
Oh, I was a nervous wreck. Honestly, I barely even remember how it went because I was so tense. I think I tried to drink a little to ease the nerves, but even then, I don't think it helped all that much.
That sounds like you, Dad. You're the same now as you were back then, huh?
Yeah, I guess some things never change, but really I'll always be grateful to your mom's parents. They were so kind to me. They accepted me even when I didn't have much to offer.
What do you mean by that?
Well, back then I wasn't exactly holding down a steady job, remember? I was still struggling to get my career going.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it wasn't until you were about to start elementary school that I finally got myself together and started earning a stable income. Those early years were rough, but we got through them.
Wow, I guess I never realized that. I don't really remember much from when I was that young.
Well, that's a good thing. It means I did my job as a father, right? The fact that you don't remember the tough times means we kept things stable for you. Now look at you, on the verge of getting married. Time really flies, doesn't it?
Come on, Dad. Don't say it like that. You're making yourself sound like an old man. I still haven't even had the chance to repay you for everything you've done.
Repay me? What are you talking about, Maddie?
I mean for everything. You know, after Mom passed away, you raised me all by yourself. You gave up so much, and I haven't even begun to give anything back.
Maddie, you don't owe me anything. I'm your father. Raising you was my responsibility, my duty. You don't need to thank me for that.
But still, I feel like I should. And Gabe, well...
And what about Gabe?
I mean, you've been so accepting of him too. You welcomed him into our lives without any hesitation. I feel like I should be thanking you for that as well.
There's no need for that. The decision to accept Gabe into our family was mine to make, and it was the right one. You don't need to worry yourself about it.
I guess so.
Of course. And anyway, the next big step is for Gabe to come over to our house and officially introduce himself, right? We'll have to make sure to give him a proper welcome. Just let me know once you two set a date for that.
Actually, about that, it might be a little bit more complicated than we thought.
What do you mean? Is something wrong?
Yeah, there's a chance that the engagement might not happen after all.
What? Are you serious? You two seemed so happy together. What happened?
It's a long story, but... Maddie, why don't you just accept the fact that the engagement is over? The sooner you do, the sooner we can all move on with our lives. Accept it? How am I supposed to accept anything when Gabe won't even talk to me? He hasn't come home in days. Well, of course he hasn't. Gabe's been staying at my family's house. That's where he's living now. So, Gabe's really already made up his mind, hasn't he? That's what I've been telling you this whole time. You're not getting married to Gabe. It's over. What? Why? How did things end up like this? Just the other day, everything was fine between us. We were so happy. Well, since you're so desperate to know, I'll tell you the reason. So, there really is a reason for all of this? Of course. You see, Gabe has been in love with me for years. What? That's right. Ever since we were kids, Gabe's had feelings for me. But I never really paid much attention to him. I mean, we were close as childhood friends, sure, but I didn't see him as anything more. I just wasn't interested in him romantically at the time. But then, why now? Why suddenly decide to get involved with Gabe? Well, recently, I found out that Gabe had landed a job at a major, well-known company here. Not only that, but he's doing really well, rising through the ranks quickly. He's definitely on the fast track to success. And what does that have to do with anything? Isn't it obvious? If I'm going to marry someone, I want a man who is successful, someone who can provide and make good money. And now, Gabe has proven himself to be exactly that kind of man. He finally met my standards. So, you just decided to swoop in and steal him from me? Watch your mouth. That's not stealing. Gabe has always been in love with me. He only started dating you because I wasn't available. You were the consolation prize, Maddie. He settled for you because he thought he couldn't have me. But now that he's on the rise and I've shown interest, of course he's going to drop you. That's why this engagement fell apart so easily. I see. So that's what's been happening this whole time. Glad you're finally catching on. So now that you know the truth, it's time for you to gracefully step aside. Accept the engagement's end and move on. That's really all you can do now. It's the least you could do, don't you think? I understand now. I've been betrayed by both you and Gabe for who knows how long. Oh, don't be so dramatic. There's no betrayal here. If anything, you should be grateful. Gabe gave you attention when you didn't deserve it. He even proposed to you. You should be thanking us for the time you got to spend with him. Thank you? For what? For playing with my emotions? For making me believe that Gabe and I had a future together? I don't think so. I'm not just going to let this slide. I will not let you get away with this so easily. Huh. And what exactly do you think you can do, Maddie? What power do you have in the situation?
Maddie, can you just move out of the apartment already?
Seriously? That's the first thing you say after not contacting me for so long? I can't believe you.
I don't really care what you think of me. The place is gonna be where Winter and I live from now on. It's inconvenient for us if you keep hanging around there. Besides, we're getting married soon. I was thinking of sending you an invitation. Would you like that?
Why on earth would I want to celebrate your wedding? Do you really think that I would ever want to congratulate the two of you after everything?
Oh, is that so? Fine by me, but from now on, stay out of our lives, okay? I want to forget about you as quickly as possible.
Fine, I'll make sure of that.
Good, that's what I like to hear.
Can you tell Winter the same thing? I don't want to hear from either of you again. No more contact.
Don't worry, I'm pretty sure she has no intention of reaching out to you, but just to make sure, I'll pass along the message.
I appreciate that.
You thought you were gonna marry me, didn't you? Too bad it didn't turn out that way. Better luck next time. Anyway, see you.
Hey, what's the meaning of this? What are you talking about all of a sudden? I thought we agreed not to have any more contact. Don't play dumb with me. I just heard that Gabe got fired from his job because of you. What's going on? How could you do something like this? Did you hear that from Gabe? Of course I did. He's been depressed ever since it happened. Depressed? Why would he be depressed? This was something he should have seen coming from a mile away. What's that supposed to mean? What does your father's company have to do with this? Did you have something to do with it? Gabe got fired from the company I work for. What? And the president of that company happens to be my father. You've got to be kidding me. I wouldn't lie about something like this. But just to be clear, Gabe wasn't actually fired. His job offer was simply rescinded before he officially started. He wasn't even an employee yet, so it's not a firing in the technical sense. That's not what Gabriel told me. He made it sound completely different. He probably exaggerated the story because he didn't want you to think less of him. Gabe was fired from his previous job. After that, my father found out that he was unemployed and wasn't keen on the idea of me marrying someone without a steady job. That's why, out of consideration for me, my father pulled some strings and offered Gabe a position at our company. Even if that's true, you can't just revoke a job offer like that. It's illegal. You must have said something to your father that made him do it, didn't you? I didn't say anything unnecessary. I just told my father the truth about what was going on. I gave him an honest report about everything. Fine, if that's the case, then I'll just speak to your father directly. I'll straighten this whole mess out myself. Do you really think you're capable of doing that? Yes, I do. Gabe gave me your father's contact information, and I'm going to call him right away. I'll clear up all these misunderstandings, and Gabe will get his job back. Mark my words. Sure, go ahead if you feel like you need to, but I doubt my father will believe anything you have to say. We'll see about that. Don't think for a second that this is over. I won't just sit back and let you ruin Gabe's career over some petty jealousy. I'll make sure he gets that job. You really believe that? You actually think my father would reconsider Gabe's position just because you call him? My father doesn't make decisions on a whim, especially when it comes to business, but feel free to try. Huh, you'll regret this. I'll just show you how wrong you are. I'm not letting this go without a fight. Alright then, good luck with that. Don't you mock me? We'll see who has the last laugh. Nice to meet you. I'm Winter.
Oh, and who might you be?
I'm, Gabe's childhood friend.
Ah, Gabe's friend, I see.
Actually, I heard that Gabe had his job offer rescinded.
Yes, that's true. You see, originally there was a plan to hire him because he was going to marry Maddie. But since that engagement fell through, so did the job offer.
In fact, the reason the engagement fell through is because of Maddie.
Wait, what? My daughter?
That's right. Maddie has been treating Gabe poorly ever since she learned he was unemployed. It turns out that she's been involved with a number of other guys, which has caused Gabe a lot of distress. Despite that, he was still thinking about marriage, but eventually he just couldn't handle it anymore, leading to the engagement being called off. So, all of this is Maddie's fault. Please reconsider the job offer for Gabe. Don't put him in a worse situation than he's already in.
I see. So Maddie is the problem?
Yes, that's exactly it.
You mentioned that Maddie treated Gabe poorly because he was unemployed.
Yes, that's correct. I've received numerous complaints from him about it.
And despite all that, Maddie still came to our company to plead for Gabe's employment? So what was it that she came to me and the HR team to request? Did she really beg for us to hire Gabe despite all that?
So that's how it was?
Indeed. And to think Gabe was the one who dismissed those feelings from such a daughter. Of course, you're just as guilty in this situation.
I see you're aware of my involvement.
It's obvious. Did you really think you could deceive me? Don't underestimate me.
I didn't intend to.
Anyway, I have no intention of hiring Gabe at all. From what I've heard, his attitude was so bad at his previous job that he was let go. There's no way I would hire someone like that without Maddie's influence. It seems Gabe didn't realize that. In any case, please refrain from contacting either me or my daughter moving forward.
But wait, you don't understand.
What could I possibly not understand? Gabe is an unreliable worker who couldn't keep a job. I don't have time to waste on people like him.
But you don't understand how hard he has tried. He's been through so much.
Tried? Hard work doesn't mean anything if you can't maintain professionalism. If he had any true ambition, he would have made it work. Instead, he's just a failure looking for someone to blame.
But you need to hear the whole story. It's not fair to judge him without knowing what he's been through.
The story doesn't change the facts. Employment is about performance and behavior. If he failed in those areas, then that's not my concern.
Please, listen. Gabe has been going through a lot since Maddie ended things. She pushed him to the edge. He was at his lowest when he got the job offer.
That might be true, but it doesn't change the outcome. It sounds like he has some personal issues that he needs to sort out. A workplace isn't a therapy session.
I know that, but the job meant everything to him. It was his chance to finally start fresh.
And how do you think it looks for our company to hire someone who has a history of being let go? Do you really think anyone would want to take that risk?
But he was trying to turn his life around. You can't just throw him away like that.
Look, I appreciate your enthusiasm for Gabe, but this is a business decision. If he doesn't fit, he doesn't fit. It's that simple.
But if he doesn't get this opportunity, what's going to happen to him?
That's not my concern. His life choices are his own to navigate. I'm not obligated to take pity on him just because he's in a rough spot.
This is just cruel. He deserves a chance to prove himself.
Maybe, but not at the expense of our company's reputation. If Gabe truly had the qualities to succeed, he would have managed to keep his previous job. It's really as straightforward as that.
So, what are you saying? You'll let him suffer?
I'm saying that this isn't a charity. If you truly want to help Gabe, maybe suggest he works on his issues before he comes back looking for a job.
Please, just think about it. Damn it. It looks like Gabe really isn't getting hired. That's right. Can you please give up? He was talking about a big company and a path to promotion? Don't direct that at me. If you were his childhood friend, you should be able to see through the lies by now. Shut up! Don't talk down to me like that. I have to think seriously about what's coming next. I don't have time to waste talking to you. Wait a moment. You're living in that apartment now, aren't you? Yeah, so what? You need to move out of there immediately. Huh? Why should I have to do that? I've already canceled the lease for that apartment. Huh? Why would you do that? That place is quite a luxury apartment, right? There's no way unemployed Gabe can afford the rent there. Are you serious? Yes, I'm serious. I was the one paying for that apartment. It seems that Gabe told you he was handling it himself. How many lies is he going to keep telling? That just shows how much he liked you. Being loved that much is also a happy thing, you know? That doesn't mean anything. It's worthless to be loved by a useless, unemployed guy. That was your choice, so don't be mad at me. At the very least, I loved Gabe, whether he was unemployed or not. Until you showed up, that is. Do I really have to leave this apartment? Of course. What is this? Come on, you can just live at your parents' house. Well, actually, we had planned to have a party at my place before getting married. Can't I stay in this apartment just until then? That's impossible. You have to leave immediately. Otherwise, the landlord will be troubled. If you want to throw a grand party, do it at your family's home. I guess I have no choice. It looks like I'll be living at my parents' house for a while again. Yes, please get along with Gabe while you're at it. No way! I'm breaking up with him! What? Why? Isn't it obvious? I'm not such a fool as to marry someone who has no prospects. Besides, we only got engaged. I can just break it off. Are you serious about that? Will Gabe accept it? I don't care what that loser thinks. I can just tell him that you should be the one marrying him. Please don't. I don't even want to see Gabe's face anymore. Oh, look at that. We finally agree on something. Also, I can assure you that I'm quite popular, so even if it's not him, I'll find another rich guy and marry him. Well, that's not really for me to comment on, is it? Huh. Well then, this is where our conversations end. Goodbye. Oh, wait. There's one more thing I need to tell you. What is it? I'm thinking of suing Gabe over this broken engagement. Really? Yes, I intend to claim compensation for emotional distress. Do as you wish. And I will also be suing you. Huh? Me too? Of course. You took Gabe from me, so I'm going to request compensation from you as well. Wait a second. Please don't sue me. I can't let you off without facing consequences. You know, I was deceived by Gabe too. Huh? What do you mean by that? I didn't know he was dating you. Gabe was two-timing us both. And then suddenly, when it came to marriage, he revealed your existence to me. I never intended to take Gabe away from you. Please believe me? No, I can't believe you. What you're saying contradicts what you told me when you were at Gabe's house. Also, if you were deceived, you should be angry at Gabe, just like I was. But you were looking down on me with that relaxed attitude. I can't believe you didn't know. Well, I quit my job because I was going to marry Gabe. So financially, it's been really tough for me. I can't afford to pay any damages. I don't care. You'll pay somehow, even if it means working part-time or whatever. Are you serious? Of course. I have a connection with a skilled lawyer, so I plan to hire them. From now on, you will need to communicate with that lawyer. You're kidding! Why am I going through this? It's your own doing. Didn't you realize that a guy who would switch allegiances with just a little attention while having a fiance is no good? You may be popular with men, but you clearly have no judgment. Well, you're the same. Yes, so thanks to you, I was able to see Gabe's true nature. For that, I'm grateful. Wait, then. But that doesn't change anything. I see. So there's no chance of reconsideration for you? That's impossible. I will thoroughly fight against you and Gabe, who trampled on my feelings. Prepare for that. What a mess this all is. I can't believe it's come to this point. It feels surreal. Just a few weeks ago, everything seemed fine. Gabe and I were planning our future together. I was so excited about our engagement, about getting married and starting a life together. But now, look at this chaos. I can't just let it go without a fight. Can I get the contact information for that lawyer we talked about?
But are you sure about this? You'll have to face them again. It could get really complicated, you know.
It's fine. I've thought about it a lot, and I need to retaliate for everything that's happened. This isn't just going to slide. I can't let them get away with treating me like this.
Is that so? You're really set on this, huh? But you do realize that this could lead to a lot of stress and confrontation, right?
Yeah, but I feel bad for putting you in this position. I know it's not easy for you either, having to deal with all of this drama. But I have to stand up for myself now. I just can't let them think they can walk all over me.
Me? Why's that? You're the one who's been wronged here. I just want to make sure you're okay.
You've said you wanted to see your grandchild soon, but now that's all been postponed. And I can't help but feel like this whole situation is getting in the way of our future.
Oh, I see. I guess I was putting some weird pressure on you without realizing it. But you know, I don't really mean it that way. All I truly wish for is your happiness. I want to support you in whatever decision you make.
Thanks, Dad. I'll make sure to date someone more reliable next time. No more of this mess. I deserve better, and I know that now.
Well, if you can take this failure and use it as a lesson for the future, that's all I can ask for. Just promise me you won't let it get you down too much.
Yeah, I'll do that. I promise. I'm going to come out of this stronger, and I won't forget what I've learned. Gabe and Winter found themselves in a precarious situation after being hit with a significant compensation claim. The stress of financial obligations and emotional turmoil turned their lives upside down, leading them down a difficult path that neither had anticipated. The pressure was mounting, and the weight of their decisions began to bear heavily on their shoulders. Winter swiftly decided to end her engagement with Gabe, realizing that staying together under such dire circumstances would only complicate matters further. With a heavy heart, she moved back to her family home, hoping that returning to her roots would offer her some semblance of stability amid the chaos that had enveloped her life. As Winter settled back into her family home, she thought that perhaps the familiarity of her childhood environment would provide her with comfort. However, the emotional fallout from the engagement's abrupt end lingered, making it challenging for her to adjust. She felt a profound sense of loss, both for her relationship with Gabe and for the life she had envisioned with him. Memories of happier times flooded her mind, contrasting sharply with the harsh reality of her current situation. In her heart, Winter hoped that with time, the wounds would heal and she could start anew, but the journey ahead seemed daunting. Meanwhile, Gabe was adamant about not recognizing the annulment of their engagement. He held on to the belief that their relationship still had the potential to be salvaged, launching a long and drawn-out legal battle that quickly became bitter and emotionally draining for both of them. The courtroom transformed into a battleground for their unresolved issues and grievances, where both parties aired their frustrations and disappointments. Neither was willing to back down, and the conflict intensified with each passing day. The courtroom drama took a toll on both Winter and Gabe, leading them to question their choices and the very nature of their relationship. With each hearing, they were forced to confront the pain they had inflicted on one another, and it became increasingly clear that their love story had taken a dark turn. Friends and family watched the unfolding drama with a mix of concern and disbelief, unsure of how it all resolved. The situation was becoming a public spectacle, and the pressure from outside sources only added to their struggles. In the midst of all this turmoil, Winter realized that she had an obligation to start repaying the compensation she owed. Desperate for a way out, she turned to her previous workplace, hoping to return to her former position and regain some financial stability. She believed that doing so would provide her with a quick fix to her mounting problems. However, her attempts were met with a cold and firm rejection. The company was simply not in a position to accommodate her request for reinstatement. Winter's heart sank as she realized that her dreams of returning to the comfort of her old job were dashed. leaving her feeling more hopeless than ever. Feeling increasingly despondent, Winter decided to reach out to her parents for help. She pleaded with them to assist her in covering the substantial compensation she owed, hoping that they would understand the gravity of her situation. However, her parents, already burdened with their own financial struggles, informed her that they were unable to provide any support. Their words stung, leaving Winter feeling abandoned and alone in her fight. This realization hit her hard, forcing her to come to terms with her new reality. With no other options available, she reluctantly accepted the situation and took up part-time work to begin repaying the debt that loomed over her. Taking on part-time jobs was not what Winter had envisioned for her life, but she knew it was necessary to stay afloat. The work was often physically demanding and emotionally draining, yet she persevered, determined to make ends meet. Winter found herself juggling multiple jobs, working late into the night and waking up early to make the most of her limited time. Each paycheck provided a small sense of relief, but it was never enough to fully alleviate the weight of her debt. With every passing day, she felt the pressure mount, pushing her further into a cycle of stress and anxiety. In a desperate attempt to turn her life around, Winter embarked on a search for a wealthy partner who could potentially rescue her from her dire financial situation. She hoped to find someone who would not only help her regain her footing, but also offer her a lavish lifestyle that she once enjoyed. Her friends encouraged her, suggesting that finding a rich partner could be the solution to all her problems. Winter attended various social events, hoping to meet someone who would sweep her off her feet and provide her with the security she craved. However, as the pressure mounted, the stress began to take its toll on her physically and emotionally. The once flawless beauty that had drawn many men to her began to deteriorate, leading to a decline in her self-esteem. Winter's once vibrant appearance became shadowed by dark circles under her eyes, and the signs of exhaustion etched on her face. She struggled to maintain the facade of confidence, but inside, she felt like a shell of her former self. The pressures of her life were relentless, and each rejection stung deeper than the last. Unfortunately for Winter, as her appearance faded, so did her prospects. The men she had hoped to attract with her charm and beauty began to overlook her. She found herself increasingly isolated, with very few men interested in pursuing a relationship with her. The combination of financial strain and the loss of her former beauty left her feeling desolate and alone. It seemed that no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't escape her current predicament. Winter felt like she was trapped in a cycle of disappointment, struggling to find a way out while wrestling with her self-worth. Now, Winter was left with the harsh reality of working various part-time jobs just to scrape by, struggling to make ends meet while feeling the weight of her past decisions. Each day was a battle, and she often found herself reflecting on how she had ended up in this situation. The dreams she once had seemed so distant, and the future appeared bleak. Despite her efforts, it felt as though she was running on a treadmill, expending all her energy but getting nowhere. Meanwhile, Gabe's situation was no better. Unable to pay the required compensation, he found himself resorting to taking on substantial debts. His once promising career quickly crumbled under the weight of his financial obligations. He became increasingly overwhelmed by his circumstances. As his financial situation worsened, he spiraled into a state of despair. The burden of debt and the pressure of his unresolved legal issues compounded his problems, creating a perfect storm of stress and anxiety. Gabe felt trapped in a cycle of despair, unsure of how to break free from the financial burdens that had taken over his life. The shame of his situation weighed heavily on him, and he often found himself isolating from friends and family who might have provided support. The emotional toll of his struggles was evident, as he battled feelings of worthlessness and regret. As for what happened to him afterward, it appeared that no one knew the specifics of his struggles or where he ended up. Gabe became a shadow of his former self, lost in a sea of financial instability and uncertainty. On my end, I made the conscious decision to channel the shock of my broken engagement into my work. Instead of allowing myself to be consumed by heartache, I committed myself to my job, determined to make something of myself in the process. I immersed myself in my responsibilities, seeking to achieve professional success and personal growth. This dedication proved to be fruitful. I not only achieved numerous results at work, but also contributed significantly to my father's company. The sense of purpose I found in my work became a refuge from the turmoil surrounding me. I poured my energy into projects and initiatives, often staying late and working weekends to ensure that I was giving my best effort. My hard work did not go unnoticed, and I began to receive recognition from my peers and superiors. This validation fueled my drive, propelling me further along my career path. With each success, I felt a renewed sense of confidence and determination, allowing me to move forward despite the pain of my broken engagement. As I look back on this experience, I find myself thinking that perhaps it's best for me to take a break from the idea of marriage for a while. My priorities shifted, and I realized that I wanted to cherish the time I had with my father, who had always been there for me through thick and thin. I found comfort in our shared moments, whether it was over a meal or during a long conversation. These interactions reinforced the importance of family in my life and helped me regain the perspective on what truly matters. I've come to understand that building a strong relationship with my father is just as important, if not more so, than pursuing romantic relationships. He has always been a pillar of support, guiding me through the challenges of life. As I dedicated myself to my career, I also made a conscious effort to spend quality time with him, cherishing the moments we shared. Our bond grew stronger as we navigated the complexities of life together, and I realized how fortunate I was to have such a caring and supportive figure in my life. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.